You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. And now, Steve Disney.
Well, it is so good to see so many people coming into the Six Screens on this cold night up in Boston. Well, anyways, my name's Rick Farron, and thank you for being with us tonight and wanting to spend some time. Well, we exposed the Watchtower organization, one of the most dangerous and destructive organizations on the planet. We've been doing it now for 20 years, and we're going to keep going with it. We want people to know what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. Well, we're coming to you from the apostate capital of the world up here in Boston, Massachusetts. And boy, there's a lot to talk about tonight. I'm so glad that you guys are listening into the Dick and Constance show. That was their best program yet. They had a number of people coming in from pretty much all over the world, and new ones coming into the program tonight as well. So we want to thank all you folks that came into Dick and Constance program and staying on here for JW World News. So anyways, let's just take a look here and see what's going on. I'm going to be talking tonight about the Epstein files. They were released this week, and there's some things I want to share with you that kind of relate to the Watchtower. And I want to wish everyone, too, a Merry Christmas. Of course, this is Christmas week, and I hope that you can enjoy Christmas no matter how you celebrate it or what you do. I pray that you all have a good Christmas, and I certainly hope that all goes well for you. And we're going to be talking tonight, too, another story good coming up. You know, it's been floating around for a couple of years that the Jehovah's Witness organization may be going to one meeting a week. Why couldn't they do that when I was the witness? One meeting a week. I will talk about that, and also a leaked video. Oh, my goodness. Wait till you hear about this leaked video that Jeffrey Jackson was in. Unbelievable. But let's just start off tonight. I want to thank Mary Ann. She's an avid listener to the Six Screen. She listens in all the time. And she wrote me, she texts me, and she says, Rick, I was listening to she goes by Christine Maxwell. Well, she was the one that was Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend, right? So she kind of spilled the beans this week, and the whole country, the whole world really is finding out more about Jeffrey Epstein and what a real creep he was. Did you see that picture of Michael Jackson? Yeah, that picture of Michael Jackson was standing next to Epstein. Was Michael Jackson one of the sexual perverted places that Epstein used to bring his young groom girls? I don't know, but Michael Jackson, at least in the picture, I don't believe it was photoshopped, but all of a sudden all this stuff is starting to come out. So I wanted to bring up something that Mary Ann sent me, and it turns out to be quite fascinating. It turns out that the perverted sexual abuser, Jeffrey Epstein, was impotent. Yeah, did you know that? Well, it was brought out that he was impotent, and just as Russell was alleged to be. Yeah, Russell, Charles Taze Russell, was also alleged to be impotent. But I'll give you more information on that and why we want to discuss it a little bit tonight. You see, both of these men, Epstein and Charles Taze Russell, they lacked natural abilities in performance as a man. And that's not a real problem. I mean, a lot of men lack that. But something unusual happens to some men. Not only does it make them perverted, but it can make them do some pretty strange things, as Epstein and Russell did. Now, Epstein had an unusually deformed small appendage. We'll just call it that, right? An unusually deformed small appendage, which was considered to be very undesirable. Well, that's interesting, right? Now, this, some are saying, was the source of madness behind the abuse that Jeffrey Epstein showed toward children, women, and the people in general, because they had a small appendage. Now, I'm not saying that all men who have a small appendage are going to have a source of madness in them. But evidently, it's now coming out that this was one of the sources of madness in Jeffrey Epstein. So you wonder, well, how does this all relate to C.T. Russell? Well, allegedly, Russell was very uncomfortable, very unhappy about his lack of sexual endowment. I never knew this. I'm learning this for the first time. I've been out of the Watchtower for 20 years. I was a Jehovah's Witness for 50. So let's add them up 70 years. And I never knew that Russell.
Explain the jellyfish comment.
Yeah, well,
the jellyfish comment regarding Russell.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what's taking place here with the jellyfish. Yes. Can you tell it? What about jellyfish? I was going to get to that point, Pixie, but to tell the folks listening in tonight about jellyfish.
Well, this was Russell's own quotation, and he referred to himself in that way. And I always thought, is that a euphemism for something else? So you have solved that mystery.
That's exactly.
And the accomplice of Epstein, Maxwell, she was wicked in her own way. And I wondered if the girl that she recruited and groomed that helped her, there was a rumor that that girl was from New York and a witness.
Well, that girl was, in fact, we did bring that up a few weeks ago. I forget what her name is right offhand, but she was involved with the recruiting, bringing young girls to Epstein. Yes. Sarah? Okay, good. Thank you.
Sarah.
All right. Thank you, Buster Babe. Yeah. All right. So anyways, yeah, she was involved. Well, let me get back to this jellyfish. It kind of got my attention. I want to thank the lady for sending this. So allegedly, I'm going to go allegedly. It's pretty much well known, but I'll go allegedly here just to satisfy the ears of those might be a little concerned about this. But Russell was very uncomfortable or unhappy about his sexual endowment. Therefore, out of frustration, men like Russell, Jeffrey Epstein, they seek to compensate themselves in control. They want to get control by means of extreme abuse over others. And maybe that's one of the reasons why Maria, his wife, called Charles a jellyfish. He was having control. He felt control over other women. And he was like a jellyfish. He admitted it. In fact, we did an AI video. You guys probably saw it. That, in fact, Mary Ann saw that video, and she wrote to me here saying, "Rick, I enjoyed it." And she said, "I want to give you some more information." So here we have two men, sexually perverted, and we can really go into deep. We're going to do a lot more videos on Russell himself, but there are stories of Russell's dishonest business deals. I mean, everybody knows that if you study about Russell, how he lies about certain things like miracle corn, miracle wheat. It would never, people would buy it, but it would never germinate. And also, he put so much pressure on his early Bible students, really, really pushing them as like slaves toward the goals of the Watchtower publishing enterprise. So, but Maria, his wife, she's actually the one that speaks of Russell's extremely bad behavior toward her with other women, and she was very unhappy in her marriage. And it's just really of clear interest to me now that there's a twisted psyche of men. Now, not all men are have a twisted psyche because they may not be well endowed. Let's go with that. Or they may have some difficulties down there. But these self-induced perversions, and like Russell had and Jeffrey Epstein had, that they came out of the imagery of a sick mind. Both of these men had sick minds. So I just wanted to bring that up. If anyone wants to, yeah, I'll go.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? Endowment? Explain that. Tell me what you mean.
Well, wait a minute. No, I'll talk to you, Mike.
You are a effing liar. You are disgusting.
yeah.
Perverted. You're evil. You are an evil man.
I know you love Charles Taze Russell, Michael. I know you love him. I know you're still a Bible student. I mean, I'm sorry if it offended you, but I mean, do the research. Put in AI right now, and you'll find out what we're talking about. Okay. And come on, civil. If you want to come on, civil, Mike, we'll be glad to talk to you. But we're not going to talk to. We're not going to talk to a raving alcoholic person. We're not going to. We're not going to do that. Yeah. We're not going to talk to a raving alcoholic. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Go ahead, Dick.
Yeah, this is to Mike. Mike, just relax. What we're trying to say is that C.T. Russell, like Epstein, had a very small penis. I'll say the word penis because that's what we were talking about. And some people have psychological problems because they're not well endowed, and they do a lot of things to compensate for it. And a lot of those things are perverted. It's certainly perverted when you're dealing with children that are not of age. It's called pedophilia. It's disgusting, and it's been sowing its seeds right to the Watchtower since the very beginning. So, Mike, just relax a bit, okay? We're handling this in the most polite way we possibly can. Rick's doing a fantastic job, but it needs to be said because it's out there. As a matter of fact, I watched a deposition on Jeffrey Epstein not that long ago, and a lawyer asked him that question about having a penis that was not like everybody else's, deformed or small or whatever. And he refused to answer. But this stuff is out there in the public. This is out there. So don't be jumping all over Rick because he's talking about it. That's what he's supposed to do. So thank you, everybody. And just keep on listening to Rick. He knows what he's talking about.
Well, thank you, Dick. No, what it is we love Mike. We really do. But boy, that doesn't take much to enrage him, really. And I'll be glad to talk to him in a sensible way. All right, let's move on here. Let's see what else is going on behind. I want to thank Mary. Did someone have a thought? Go ahead. All right, I want to thank Mary Ann for sending me that, Mary Ann. If you're listening in, thank you. And I want to thank everyone that sends me information here to the 6 screens. It's like a news clearinghouse. We get a lot of news coming here all the time. My phone is always dinging 24 hours a day with people sending me news, but that caught my attention. And it gave a new meaning, as Pixie was saying earlier, to the jellyfish. He admitted he was a jellyfish. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what you can do for a little research. Give you a little research. Look up sexuality in the jellyfish. See if you can draw a comparison with the jellyfish in Russell. You do that on your own because it's do a little homework for me. All right. Anyways, let's take a look in and see what else is going on. Now, here it is. I'm not saying take this to the bank and cash it, but it appears as though the Watchtower is sending off trial balloons. So where was this trial balloon sent off this week? Well, it was sent off to Nicaragua. Yes, Nicaragua. Information from an elder that came in here today and shared some thoughts with me that makes a lot of sense. He says he's an elder in Nicaragua. And in January, the end of January, the Watchtower branch office in Nicaragua, they're having a special meeting for all elders, only elders, not ministerial servants, but just elders in the entire country of Nicaragua. Now, it's very fascinating, he was saying, because it's not even on a weekend. It's on a Friday. And, it's a work day. Even in Nicaragua, it's a work day, right? Like it is here in America. And so the Watchtower home office, their branch office, is saying that, ask your employer if you can get the day off for vacation time or whatever. So they're going to have this special meeting. And what he feels it's all about, and, we can't say with 100% certainty, so I can't say it either. But he believes with having a special meeting, a special event, that they're going to eliminate the weekday meetings. That sounds pretty good. I wish they would have done that when I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. That is a real chore. Now, of course, if you're listening to this program and you've been in the Watchtower for quite a while, you can remember when they had to meet 3 times a week. And if you wanted to count Saturday service, make it 4. All right. If you counted Sunday service, make it 5. So, it's quite a chore to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And of course, they relaxed that in the last 10 years. They brought it down to 2 meetings a week, plus service would count another one if you went out in service. But so they tried to reduce it, and they're doing it for a reason. Friends, it's too much for people. It's too hard. It's too expensive. People got to work. So consequently, the Watchtower, at least in my way of thinking, I can't say it with 100% certainty, but it looks like they're sending a trial balloon off in Nicaragua. They're going to try it. Now, the Watchtower's always done this. They're not going to just all of a sudden, let's have 1 meeting a week now around the world. It might not go over good. It might go over like a lead balloon, never mind a trial balloon. So they got to try it and see. Now, I was accused on Reddit. Whenever anything's said that is out of line or turns out to be a rumor, they all say that Rick Ferrin from the 6 Screen said it. I mean, I can't even defend myself in Reddit, and stick up for me in there. So they were saying that I said that some congregations in California are plotting a 1 meeting a week format, and they've been doing this for a couple of years. I don't remember saying that, but someone on Reddit said it. Now, I can tell you right now that that's not the case. There's no evidence of any congregations in California that have only been meeting for 1 meeting a week in the last couple of years. So I just wanted to make that very, very clear. Now, this is a pilot version, as I say, a trial balloon. It's necessary to check before they start doing anything. They want to make sure the money is going to continue to flow. So they got to bring their accountants in. Now, it's necessary to check whether more money will be generated if there's only 1 meeting. Well, what do you think? I mean, you would think that, well, the more meetings you have, the more people you bring to the Kingdom Hall, the more money's put in the box. Well, that's not always the case. See, everything needs to be tested first before they roll it out worldwide. So they brought the accountants in, and I guess what they're concluding here is by actually they're going to make more money, it appears, if they do go to 1 meeting a week, and I'll tell you why. Well, most of the money coming in, at least in the USA, is coming through the internet. People really don't put money in the box like they used to, like you and I used to do, right? So they're putting it online, just like when you buy something from Amazon, you put it on your credit card. Well, the witnesses are doing the same thing, so they're donating online. So also some of these accountants are looking at, well, let's see now, if we only meet 1 day a week, there'll be less wear and tear on the property. As a result, when we go to sell it off, it'll be worth more. So these are things that, you got to check. You got to make sure you're going to do it properly, and you got to make sure you're not going to lose a lot of money by doing something like this. And also by cutting back to just 1 meeting per week, it could have some other significant pluses for the Watchtower. Well, what it would do is the Watchtower could now sell this Kingdom Hall off under the guise of, well, we're only using it one day a week, and we really don't need it for the 1 day a week. We're paying electric and water. So let's merge this Kingdom Hall with another, or just sell the Kingdom Hall off and meet on Zoom. So, they're making a lot of changes. So I'm trying to hypothesize here what's going to happen. So I can see them actually trying or testing this in a country like Nicaragua, because Nicaragua, don't look at it as a totally backward country. from what I understand, there's internet access to the cities, and so even if people can't make it to the meeting, they can still donate online. So, but they're testing it in Nicaragua. Now, what this will also do, and we talked here a number of times on the 6 screens. It's very difficult for the Watchtower these days to get elders. Elders are dropping off like flies. And, what are they going to do? None of the ministerial servants seem to be reaching out much either. So consequently, by just going to one meeting a week, well, that's going to take a lot of pressure off the elders, right? They won't have to take the lead as much without the burden of all those talks and meetings, that they could hope that they could hold on to these elders, and possibly they wouldn't be dropping off because so many of them are stepping down right now. So this gives the elders more flexibility, and also, like I say, it gives the organization more flexibility because they can now sell the kingdom halls off or merge these kingdom halls a lot easier. The Watchtower has mothballed and reduced so many activities that used to be regular. And hey, we've talked about this. Activities that used to be regular, they've actually, well, you remember the days when, I don't want to sound like an old timer here, but you remember the days when conventions used to be 8 days. Conventions used to be 4 days. They cut them down to 2 days, and even now 1 day for some assemblies. So, they're reducing many of the activities. They're reducing the activities of people going out and the preaching work. Before, you used to really have to go huffing it door to door. Now you just roll a card out, or you can just check a box and say, I put 10 hours in a month, and make it very, very easy. So these are things that they're changing, and they mothball many things that they did in the past. And you just think of your deceased Jehovah's Witness grandmother, or mother, or aunt or uncle, deceased now. Just think if they came back and they heard, one meeting. In fact, the first thing that jumped out of my mind when I heard one meeting a week, doesn't that sound like the churches of Christendom? I mean, they meet one day a week, right, on Sunday. So, we keep saying, and so many people say online too, that the Watchtower is trying to emulate or trying to move into like mainstream Christianity. So by having one meeting a week, I would say that qualifies to be like a church, like Christendom. They seem to be moving more that way, even though it's slowly, but they are doing it. Well, they got to lighten the load, as they say, for those elders. There's fewer of them, and they're the ones really that are keeping things running. I mean, the Watchtower can't run congregations around the world without elders. So it's just simple math. They've got to do something to keep these elders from leaving. So that's just my thought on that. So what do you guys think? Well, why do you think they would, if they do go to one? I'm not saying they're going to one meeting, so don't hold me responsible for this, but it looks like they are. But why would you think that would be advantageous? I gave you my thoughts on it. Well, what do you think? How would you like to just have to? I don't want you to go back and be a Jehovah's Witness again, but wouldn't it be a lot easier just going to one meeting a week? Now, I'm sure some people are going to say, well, wait a minute, Rick, wait a minute. If you go to one meeting a week, the mind control is going to be lost. You got to keep these people coming. They might, like during COVID, a lot of people left. What do you think? Go ahead, you're on with us. Let's go to Chicago, 312.
Hey, Rick, this is Stefan, enjoying your show. Hey, I just had a question. Do you have any idea if they're going to try to combine the various parts from the weekday meeting into the Sunday meeting? Like, is it going to be a 4-hour meeting to accommodate everything, or are they going to let certain parts drop? I mean, any idea about that?
Well, it looks like, and I can't say for sure, but it looks like, the public talk will stay in place from the information I got from this elder. It looks like that's going to stay in place. We'll know more by the end of January. And they gotta keep the Watchtower. I mean, that's their magic magazine. They got to keep that. So to keep people in the so-called truth. So I don't see any other meetings. I know right now they have that Christian meeting they call the CLAM meeting. I forget what's the acronym too, but they combined the ministry school and the service meeting together and the book study together. All three meetings are combined for that CLAM meeting, but that went over like a lead balloon. It's too convoluted. But you gotta at least have one meeting a week. But I can see the Watchtower, and what I see here, Stefan, and we talked about it before, controlled demolition. I really believe the Watchtower feels its days are over. They have such a tarnished image. I don't think they're ever going to be able to get away from all these lawsuits. I think they see the handwriting on the wall, and I believe what they're doing is they're controlling demolition. I believe that they're really trying to shut this thing down. Now, I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow, but I think that's what their plan is. When you're so stuck in the mud, you get your car stuck in the mud and you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. Eventually, you're not going to get out. You're not going to get out. That's where the Watchtower is right now.
I tell you, Rick, if we find out by the end of January that they're down to just one meeting a week, I love the statement you always say that they are done, stick a fork in it. I think that'd be the biggest indication yet that they are done. How in the world do you just tear down to just one meeting a week? And you think about that midweek meeting, ours was on Thursday. It wasn't just a meeting, they also conducted business. Remember all the resolutions that they would make? That's where they would do the statement of accounts. There was a lot of things that got done in that meeting. Are they gonna try to do all that stuff on a Sunday? So I know that we don't know, it remains to be seen, but if they really go down to one meeting, I think that's it. It's just a matter of time at that point.
Yeah, stick a fork in them and take them off the grill, as we say, Stefan. Well, thank you, Stefan. Let's go to 860. You're on with us. Go ahead.
Hi, Rick. This is me, Deborah.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi. Merry Christmas week.
Thank you.
My question is, though, is this weather only for Nicaragua?
Well, what it is, Deborah, is yes, right now it's only for Nicaragua. See, it's a trial balloon, as we said in our little narrative, that they can't just say, okay, worldwide now we're going to one meeting. I mean, they want to make sure they got this right. You got to take baby steps. You got to take baby steps here. You can't go too fast. Some people might just totally. I mean, really, when they came out and said men could have beards and women could wear slacks, well, what happens? A lot of people left. It was just too much for them. So they got to take it in baby steps, Deborah.
Right. That sounds like them. It only goes to prove how much of a cult they really are. But my thing is here too. If they're going to do that, would it be if they're going to do that, would it be a possibility that maybe now that what is their theater, their movie production thing supposed to be done in 2026, right?
2028 now.
Oh, is it? Okay. So maybe they're going to be doing, just as a preliminary to see how it works out in Nicaragua, their movie production thing, what they have done, they're going to do it like in maybe 2 days. Nothing is written in stone. We don't even really know what this special meeting is about, but it could be maybe they're going to, like the previous caller said, maybe turn everything into 4 hours in one day, but that would be a lot.
It would be too much. And yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm done.
Thank you, Deborah, for chiming in. How would you? Now you were a witness, I'm sure. How many years were you a witness, Deborah?
Oh yeah, I was a witness all my life until I left I was 35 when I left.
All right. So wouldn't you? They're bringing all this stuff up now. We had to really put up with a lot. I'm sure you went to 3 meetings a week like me, plus your service meetings and what have you. Count those as well. But wouldn't it have been a lot easier for us one meeting? Wouldn't that have been nice? Jeez.
Oh, it definitely would have. But then again, like you said, it would have been more like mainstream religions.
Yeah. Well,
that's what made them so different, because they spent so much time with the Kingdom Hall and the other witnesses and, you know, forming their imitation families.
Well, what's interesting, Deborah, is people are waking up, and the Watchtower, you know, they didn't do this all on their own. Those governing body members, they're not smart enough to really even tweak this all together to make it work. They have an outside consulting firm that they're dealing with that's telling them, and these are lawyers. A lot of these guys are smart lawyers, and women too, and they're counseling the Watchtower on how to pull this thing off flawlessly. You just can't do this thing like push this button, push that button. You got to really stop and think about how you're going to do this. They are really stuck in the mud.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, isn't it funny? All these changes started happening when they got those extra lawyers in that firm. Where was it, in the UK?
Right. Well, that was, of course, that was
Just about a year or so ago.
yeah, that was actually, well, actually, if you're talking about in Ireland, where they actually had
Ireland.
yeah, well, the asset management company, where Jody Jadell, he's a governing body member now, but he was a big time banker with a European bank, and so yeah, a lot of these changes, and see what it's all about, in really in all endeavors in the world we live in, Deborah. Follow the money trail. Follow the money trail.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it all boils down to that.
Rick, that's true. It was nice talking to you, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas.
Well, thank you, Deborah. Thank you for chiming in, and I hope you do too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, all right. Well, there you go. There's Deborah. Now, you know, friends, I have to tell you, more and more. Go ahead. You with us?
Great.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Zachary.
Yes, Zach.
Okay, this meeting thing, I can see it happening like that, like you're saying, going to one meeting a week. Think about the public talk. First of all, when they had 5 meetings, the public talk used to be 55 minutes long. Then they cut it to 45 minutes. Then they cut it to half an hour. So there's been this decline in meeting time, meeting hours each week, the whole time. And I agree with you about elders. When I was an elder, I used to think we had too many things happening, too many things, and it kept you on a treadmill, you know? So another thing is with regard to the governing body, I see us being on the third iteration of the governing body. None of these governing body members were a part of the organization that, or they weren't the decision makers when we were doing 5 meetings a week. You know, they were combined meetings, but none of these brothers are a part of that. These are all new people now. And so the way things were done, I can see it very naturally changing because you have new bodies in there.
Well, it's going to keep changing, Zachary. We're going to see a lot of big changes coming up in the future. And I got more changes coming up tonight, too. That, you know, you want to listen closely to some of these changes coming up because Bethelites will be very concerned about them. They're coming up here tonight in a little bit. Thank you, Zach.
Okay, you're welcome.
Well, you're on the sick. Yeah, go ahead.
Maverick in London.
Hi, Maverick.
Hi. Hi. Good to talk to you, Rick. This is interesting. You know, I think, as you said, follow the money. I think that I'm now curious about if there's going to be any kingdom halls being sold. I want to keep an eye on future kingdom halls being sold, because if you think about it, a simple math would be, I don't know how much a kingdom hall with its land costs, but if you have, say, 100 kingdom halls at half $500,000 or even $1 million, that's a lot of money. So if they're looking at how can we liquidate our assets to cover all these coming lawsuits, we just got one that's the $100 million one that's just now come up to, you know, in front of us. How many more of these huge amounts of money are going to be poured into these lawsuits? So they have to find the money somewhere. They're not getting it from the rank and file as much as maybe before. So they're probably thinking, we need money. We need actual liquid money to fund all these lawsuits and everything. So I can see how they could carry on consolidating a combination of selling Kingdom Halls, squashing people into more Kingdom Halls, and fewer meetings, so that they can make it look like there's this big, rich, thriving congregations all going to a full meeting that will be good for the PR, for the rank and file. Plus, they'll get the access to the assets. That's where I'm thinking. Probably a combination of all of the things that we've all mentioned. But it's definitely money. It definitely has to be.
Well, Maverick, you could be an accountant for the Watchtower, because I'm sure they're thinking the same things you just brought up. Really, that's what they sit down and they think about this before they do it. It's unbelievable.
You know, Rick, why don't the witnesses just sell all their Kingdom Halls, sell every one of them, and then just become an online religion that way? I mean, you wouldn't have all these buildings to take care of if they really want to think about it that way. And, you know, the Kingdom Halls could be used for churches or whatever that people buy them for. But, you know, if they wanted to make all this money, that'd be the way to go, probably just to sell every Kingdom Hall on the planet.
Well, it'd be too much of a shock, Donald. It'd shock the system. You got to do it with baby steps, like I was telling Deborah. It would shock the system if all of a sudden the Watchtower came out, was selling all Kingdom Halls. People would run for the hills. They wouldn't know what to do. It'd be too drastic. So by doing little steps at a time, like a baby, they'll get through this, and they're doing everything they can to make it look grandiose, and they're going to spin everything. You know, they're making it look like it's the best organization on the planet still, and yet it's got such a tarnished image. Everybody knows it.
How's that? I mean, speaking of that $100 million lawsuit, have you heard anything about that? Have you heard anything new on that recently?
Well, yeah, the Watchtower. I believe that they're claiming now that the statute of limitations ran out. You know, so that's what they're claiming now. It goes back too far to really get involved with it. But you know, they're going to try. They're going to try every. Let me put it this way to you: if you sue the Watchtower, you better be ready, and you better have deep pockets, because these guys got a whole battery of lawyers, and they're going to come up with every loophole they could possibly think of. So they're gonna delay it. And even though it's $100 million, it's a lot of money, obviously. But you know, the court systems move very slow. And then the other thing I'm always concerned with too, it's who they know. There's been so many things squashed because of knowing the right people, you know?
Do you think the Watchtower will probably lose that case? Or do you think it'll end up like a lot of the other cases where the person won't actually get the $100 million? They may bring it down to maybe 20 or 30 million like they've been doing with all the others.
Yeah, when it comes to that kind of money, I mean, the law firm that's been hired by the woman that was the plaintiff, that law firm, I mean, it's going to cost a lot of money. I mean, they'll get a lot of money if they get the $100 million. But when they land up in court, it's not the Zalkin law firm either. I mean, Zalkin knows what these guys, they're brutal. But when they go into court, this law firm is going to see how crooked, how disingenuous the Watchtower organization is. And they're going to see, really, boy, we got a snake on our hands, because they're going to have at $100 million lawsuit. They're going to have a lot of lawyers there. The Watchtower is. And this other law firm is going to be going, holy mackerel, what do we get into here? I mean, they're going to fight this one tooth and nail, Donald, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if the Watchtower is going to win that or lose that.
Well, we all hope that the Watchtower loses it. But, you know, when you're talking that kind of money, I just don't, when you're talking millions and millions, $100 million, boy, all of a sudden corruption comes in the back door somewhere. You know, it does. It comes in the back door somewhere. So that's what I worry about. And I had a man on here years ago before you used to listen in. His name was Lawrence, Brother Lawrence.
Yeah.
And his daughter died from basically refusing a blood transfusion. And they did give it to her, but she died anyway. So he tried to sue the Watchtower. He went bankrupt doing it. It's, I'm not going to say it's impossible, But I see if it wasn't that much, say it was 10 million, the woman would have been paid off already. Really, they would have sent, they would have sent some guy out with a checkbook and talked to the woman, said, "Look, let's just let's settle this right now." But at 100 million, they're ready to get in the ring. They're ready to get in the ring. They're not going to offer.
Yeah, I'm glad that
Yeah.
lady refused the check.
Yeah.
That Watchtower was going to offer. I'm glad she refused it.
Yeah,
So,
that's good news. Yeah, there's been, in fact, we had years ago. I mean, I'm talking when we first started. We had Candace Conti's mother, Kathleen, and boy, she.
wow.
Oh yeah, no, she had a program here on the 6 screens. Oh yeah, the Conti Files we called it, and she talked all about it.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can go back. In fact, it was a great program. And she came on, she talked about what she had to go through with the Watchtower and everything they did. And geez, they dragged her through the mud. And they dragged her daughter through the
What's
mud
gonna
too.
be interesting is when if they do lose that $100 million case, that's gonna really damage them big time.
Yeah, I mean, 100 million isn't chump change. It's just quite a sizable amount of money, but it wouldn't put them out of business. But what it would do,
No.
the bad press that they would get from that could be overwhelmingly damaging to them. I mean, everyone would want to know 100. I mean, you don't hear lawsuits of 100 million in the corporate world. You do, but in the general world of religion, you don't hear 100 million bucks floating around. So it will get a lot of attention.
Surprised that case isn't in the news, actually. I mean, if it is, I haven't heard anything because I don't watch much TV, but I'm surprised it isn't out in the news and stuff like it should be.
Yeah, well, religion doesn't get the traction that it should. People don't read religious news. I hate to tell you. I mean, I don't even really read much of it, but it just doesn't. They'd rather hear about the murder out in San Diego than listen to some lawsuit about the Jehovah's Witnesses. You know what I mean? It doesn't really grab their attention that much. Yeah, but good thought though, Donald. Good thought. Well, thank you. Thank you for chiming in. Always good to hear.
You're more than welcome, Rick.
Yeah, thank you. All right, let's take a look here. Let's see what else is going on behind the curtains. Hey, how many times have you heard it? And the witness, I heard it when I was a witness, and you hear it even more now. In fact, it's kind of like a slogan that the Watchtower is now using. They're using the phrase, the best life ever. Now, isn't that a misnomer? I mean, that's not true. That Jehovah's Witnesses, if you're one of Jehovah's,
Doesn't that sound like a Disney phrase?
it does, Pixie. But I'll tell you what, it's really gaining a lot of momentum. There's more and more Jehovah's Witnesses now saying this. I mean, I can remember saying it, years ago, but now it's like a big deal. As a matter of fact, I'm even going to play a song the Watchtower made all about it. I'll play that for you in a few minutes here. But it seems to be the official slogan of the Watchtower organization. It's marketing PR, friends. The best life ever. Who wouldn't want to have the best life ever? Everyone listening to this broadcast would love to have the best life ever. And guess what? The Jehovah's Witnesses have it. And
I'm having the best life ever now that I left.
well, I feel it. I feel the same way. But I got thinking of this, and it's really, you get on these Jehovah's Witness Facebook groups, and it's used a lot in there, and it's really not true. It was created internally by the Watchtower organization. But then I was doing a little bit of research about it. I didn't go into way too much depth because I couldn't take it anymore. But I find out that the Islamic religion, the Muslims, they say the same thing. They say that they have the best life ever. And then even doing a little more research, I find that almost every religion in the world claims they have the best life ever. And, I said last week, and I don't want to beat the story to death, but I found out in my Kingdom Hall that I used to go to that there was a family that I really knew. I'm not going to mention their name, but one of their sons was a friend of my son, and they grew up together, and he committed suicide. So he was a Jehovah's Witness young man. And then come to find out, I just heard recently that the grandson in that same family, he just committed suicide. And then I get thinking about a man that also came from that same family that got kicked out, disfellowshipped, and I put him up for a while in my house, and he was going to commit suicide. So in the same family, you had two known suicides. You had one was thinking about it, and they're calling themselves the best life ever. I mean, how many witnesses have we known that died? I mean, I know some personally, and you probably do too. They've died from suicide or died from refusing a blood transfusion. I had a good friend, 27 years old. He just got married. He's only married for a year, and he wouldn't take a blood transfusion and died. So this is the best life ever? Are you serious? And how about all those people listening in tonight that have been raped as children, abused sexually? And this is the best life ever? Come on, guys, let's think about it. You can tell, it's a slick advertising promotion. That's all it is. You can tell things if you say it enough, people begin to believe it, right? I remember Pasta Babe on our program. She always brought that up. If you keep saying something enough, people will believe it. So if you keep saying it's the best life ever, well, people will begin to believe it. But I mean, you're not going to get me to believe it. And you're not going to get my audience. They're smart enough. Like Pixie said, the best life ever since I left the organization. So, don't pull this baloney because it's all baloney. It's not the best life ever. Now, does anybody out there want to take a shot at why it's not the best life ever? Did you want to say something about that? I'd love to hear what you have to say. I gave you my thoughts why it's not. Go ahead.
Hello, Rick.
Yes.
Hi, this is JP.
Yes, JP.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to comment on that, but I could probably say something about it. But I was going to comment about the change in the meeting.
Sure, whatever you like. Yep.
I think that I think it's very likely because they have a consistent they consistently change things with the requirements from the individuals who are witnesses. For example, the amount of time you used to get in and your meeting attendance used to depend on the qualifications of a man in the congregation. But if you go way back, they've been changing since the days of the convention. It used to be over a week, and then I think it went to 5 days, 4 days, 3 days. And I think that's something that they could change in the future. And then they changed the time requirement. And before that, they changed the book study. And I don't know if you remember this or anybody listening, but there used to be, because I had heard this many times before in this illustration in public talks and maybe even from a circuit overseer, but they used to always give this illustration about the importance of not missing meetings and stuff. And they used to give this illustration like if you're holding like a precious glass or something, and you have to hold it with 5 hands. And this glass or crystal represents your spirituality, and your 5 fingers gripping onto it represents the 5 meetings. And I remember the brother, he used to say, well, what happens if you start missing, your book study? Oh, well, now your pinky's not holding onto the glass. And, what if you start missing, your midday week meeting? Now, oh no, if you miss both, now you only have two fingers. And if you're not regular on Sunday meetings, well, you're gonna drop the glass, and that's pretty much your spirituality. You're gonna lose it. So they keep making these requirements that you have to do these meetings, and you have to get over 10 hours a month and be regular in the ministry, and that's pretty much your value as a Christian. And slowly but surely, as the years going by, they're going back on everything that was required, which was pretty much your worth, your net worth in the organization was how much you did for how much your meeting attendance and how much time you put in. And now that doesn't even seem to matter anymore.
No, it's all up in smoke. It's all different, PJ. It's just unbelievable that the Watchtower could pull this off. I have to say, pretty flawlessly. The people all bought it. I thought there'd be more people rejecting it, but boy, they just seem to dish it out, and the sheeple, as we call them, they just follow right along whatever the governing body says. They do it. Don't even question it. It's nutty. Yes.
Hi, it's Maverick again. Can I ask you a question? That phrase, "best life ever," is that what Watchtower is now kind of saying as a mantra, or because the reason I ask is it immediately when I heard that phrase, it reminded me of the phrase that you hear quite a lot of YouTubers and people say, "living your best life now," right? And
Yeah.
then I just typed that phrase into Google because I heard it. I was wondering where it came from, and my jaw dropped when I found out that phrase, who its or its origin of that phrase comes from the TV evangelist Joel Osteen. Can you believe that?
Oh,
Joel Osteen.
Huh?
Yeah, Joel Osteen, the TV evangelist, coined the phrase "your best life now," and he wrote a book entitled "Your Best Life Now: 7 Steps to Living at Your Full Potential." And he's a prosperity gospel word of faith movement TV evangelist. Everybody knows Joel Osteen. He's the one that looks a bit like Michael Hasselhoff. I call him the fake Michael Hasselhoff. but he coined that phrase. So here's an interesting thing. Is Watchtower going down that road now? Are they trying to mimic that kind of language to create this kind of TV evangelist style?
Well, I got to play you something, Maverick. You just
My opinion, I don't think so, because Richard Alport, who invented the modern hospice movement, who had been with Leary, he said, "Be here now." It's very important to be in the now. My mother, before she died, said, "Thank you for teaching me about the now." The witnesses never get to now. They say best life ever, and you're not sure if they're back with Old Testament prophets or sitting with watermelon in paradise. But we weren't taught to be in the now. So best life ever, it's like, when is that going to be? So I congratulate Osteen for using the now, because now is all we have, people. I hope there's an afterlife. I hope there's a Christian heaven. If there's not, I hope there's a Persian paradise. But all we can be sure of is now.
well, the witnesses they got a song about it. Let's play the song. Let's play the song right now. Let's play it.
This world would like to make me lonely, but I got my friends with me. We're trying hard to help others find friends eternally. When I would worry about me, ooh, this world would bring me down. I'm feeling better, lifting others off the ground. Look what I found. I wanna know what I can do. I wanna give what I can give. That is the best feeling ever. I know this will last forever. I'm where I want to be. This is the best life ever. So many good things yet to be done with these two hands of mine. I'll take some love and build us a bridge, connects your heart to mine. When I would worry about me, ooh, this world would bring me down. I'm feeling better, lifting others off the ground. Look what I found. I I can't do. I wanna give what I can give. That is the best feeling ever. I know this will last forever. It's better than a dream. This is the best life. I'm not afraid, come what may. This kind of life gets better every day, every day, every way. Oh, I wanna live for more than me. I wanna give till I feel free. That is the best feeling ever. I know this will last forever. Come with me, you'll see. This is the best life ever. This is the best life ever. This is the best life ever.
Well, that's debatable. I mean, I'll have to tell you that. I wouldn't call it the best life
The
ever.
first ever broadcast. The first ever broadcast, that was the first original song. That's what they call it. They call it original song. That was the first one for the first ever broadcast.
Well, what do you think?
And then the next one was the card song.
I think they're stealing from Paul Simon on that song. And I had a Bethel boy tell me that all the Bethel boys know the song by Paul Simon, The Boxer, which has some edgy lyrics about being a New Yorker and getting off the train in New York and the girls on 7th Avenue and the whole deal. And that sounds like they're stealing from Paul Simon.
Boy, it does. It does sound that way. It does sound like a Paul Simon.
I didn't hear Jesus or the kingdom or anything Bible in it.
No.
Hey.
Well, I'll tell you what I mean, but they're not the only ones saying this. In fact, that's interesting. Maverick said that Joel Osteen kind of started the whole movement there. But we all like to think we're living the best life ever. But I can tell you what, when I was in the Watchtower, that wasn't the best life ever. It really, really wasn't. I am so glad Satan kicked me out of his organization. Well, you were on the 6 screens, JW World News. That's the news the Watchtower doesn't want us talking about. Who wants to speak up? Go ahead. 602. Is that you or Gilbert?
Yeah. Hey, Rick. This subject is something I hope my brother Jesse calls in, because we've had long conversations about it. From a secular perspective, there's nothing wrong with the best life ever. But what you need to understand is a lot of our people that are listening, I know you guys hate the Bible, you guys get mad, but history repeats itself over and over again. And those of you that forget are victims of history repeating itself. And when we were Jehovah's Witness, or you go to any church, you learned about how Moses gave 10 plagues to the Egyptians. And all of the 10 plagues were an attack on their gods. So here we have a perfect example. And my brother Jesse and I, our opinion is, this is a perfect example of how the Watchtower wrote a book called Your Youth Getting the Best Out of It, The Secret to Family Happiness. You can live forever on Paradise Earth. And the list goes on with all of these books that they wrote. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. It's the boomerang effect. It is the Moses curses, the curses of the 10 plagues that have now returned on a boomerang on the Watchtower. So when Watchtower says the best life ever, then you describe the suicide that you were talking about. That's the boomerang. That is the curse. That is the plague of Moses that Watchtower has brought upon himself. Because unlike what Pixie was talking about the people that say living in the now, those are secular people speaking properly about secular issues and things having to do with non-religious stuff. But Watchtower claims to represent Jehovah. They claim to be kings in heaven. And so they're going to suffer the consequences. So you cannot play around with the wording of secularist people. Try to incorporate it into your religion, and then say that you're God's spokespeople, you're Jehovah's organization, and not think that you're going to get reprimanded like a curse, like a plague. And in the best life ever, the Jehovah's Witnesses have done it again. They have insulted Jesus Christ to high heaven, because the best life ever is living in the bosom of Jesus Christ. The best life ever is living in the mansions that Jesus has prepared. In my Father's home, there are many mansions. There are many abodes. The best life ever is living with God, living with Jesus. But Watchtower says, no, this is the best life ever. They have, it's like a sexual, I hate to use that word, it's kind of derogatory, but they have like a sexual fetish of insulting Jesus Christ. And the best life ever, if you just think about it, is the greatest insult that a religious organization can give to Jesus Christ. How can you dare call yourself a Christian organization and represent Jehovah and say that the best life ever is here on earth when Jesus specifically told you to stop putting your treasures on earth?
Yep, I agree with you there. Cause,
yeah, but when you agree with me, you don't interrupt when I'm talking, because when the governing body is talking, it's when you have to start taking notes. That's what you should be doing, taking notes. And but no, just kidding. And I just want to end it with this real quick. I was just playing with the guy. But Rick, just real quick, the Watchtower is doing all of these changes. Here's the other thing. In corporate America, we've all heard the phrase, you change or you die. Everybody in corporate America believes that if you don't change, you die. If you don't accept artificial intelligence, if you don't have a web page, yada, 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 you die. However, Jehovah's organization is changing, but yet they tell you, and they've told us for decades, that Jehovah never changes. The fact that Jehovah has to change on a weekly basis is again an insult to his representatives here on earth. Well, what is it? Does Jehovah change or does he not change? And there you go, Rick. Now you know the rest of the story.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I gleaned from that. I like something you said really caught my attention. It really did. When you said that, here they are, living so-called the best life ever on earth and showing barbecues and taking trips up to Bethel, Warwick, in that video I just played. And, no reference to Jesus, no reference to the kingdom. And then you brought the scripture in, don't put your treasures here on earth. And that resonated with me, Gilbert. You were a man of outstanding talent and ability.
There you go. Rick Farron was taking notes while I was speaking. Yeah. Like the way it's supposed to be. But Rick, thank you. It was a great topic, great show, and great callers. Excellent show.
Thank you.
That
Well, hold on. Hold on, Pixie. Hold on, Pixie. Go ahead, sir. What was it? What were you saying, sir? What were you saying was?
video was hard. That video was hard to get through, man. That was cringeworthy. I was hoping you would stop it. I was getting sick. I was getting sick to my stomach. I'll be honest with you.
Oh yeah, no, it was. I hated to even watch it too, but the reason why I kept it going to the end is because in the end they.
I know. I'm sorry. It's your fault. It was like torture.
Well, at the very end, they said the best life ever 3 times. So I wanted every.
They could use that, Rick. They could use that, Ricky. They could use that in like a jail where they torture people, show them those videos and make them watch those. Oh my God.
Well, I heard actually that particular song is being played in 3 prisons for capital punishment. Yes.
Man. Yes.
Yeah.
No,
All right.
It was hard to get through that. It really was. It was like, I'm like, man, can I fast forward this? Or because it was just like that thing was just, man, it was singing to a part of my spirit that is just, it's like so fake or something,
Well,
kind of a bring down tone on that up. There's no upbeat to it.
No, that was horrible. It was depressing, man.
We're doing it for fair comment. They're not going to sue Rick or anything. That was fair comment, and we needed to hear the whole thing so that we could have it for educational purposes.
Right. No, I already know that. Don't worry. I'm just saying that to let everybody know that that's just my opinion. That video is really cringeworthy, man.
Well, there's a lot that had the same feeling, but some of the songs, I have to tell you, I think they could have made that a little more upbeat. Some of the songs are pretty good. I have to say that. That cart song, even though it's a little Disney-esque, that's kind of catchy. There's a few songs in the Watchtower library of songs that are pretty good. They're pretty good, I'll tell you.
Oh my goodness! Of all the doctrinal reasons for me leaving, all the personal reasons, all the violence, all the humiliation, and where they think they're being humble but they're really humiliating, all the litany of stories I have. After they changed the music, I had to leave. I just think it's worse than the stuff they had before. But I was going to say that because I don't usually get churchy. This is Saturday, but this is a Christmas show, so they didn't have a mention of Jesus as the Christ, and they don't mention grace. The Bible study sister that tried to extort our house, she extended me no grace or forgiveness about anything. And I even brought up the topic with her. And it's in our Bible. I can sit at my kitchen table with my Bible and a nice cup of coffee, and I can learn more than I can learn at a Kingdom Hall.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, amen to that, Pixie. Yeah. Well, anyways, I want to bring this up here tonight because I got thinking, I'm driving around where I live here in Massachusetts, and it's very expensive to live here. It really is. The rents are high. Everything is in the moon here. Taxes. So anyways, I see more and more homeless people, even when I go shopping. There's a homeless camp in the woods. I see all these homeless camps popping up on the side of the highway and behind shopping centers. It's just nothing. I mean, I'm not embellishing either. There's a lot of them. People just can't afford things. So it got me thinking this week that, Jehovah's Witnesses, many of them never really got good jobs, right? And now they're told they can get an education. But, when I was growing up, it was taboo to do that. So a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses landed up without really making a lot of money. They couldn't get a good career. They couldn't do things they wanted to do. So anyways, go ahead. What do you want to say?
No, it's rough. It's like, I know where you're going, but it's rough, especially these days. I'm glad I'm not one now because it'd be rough trying to get in the world. You know what I'm saying? Get out there, get a job, or get.
Oh yeah, well that's why I got a 20-year-old person. I got some information from them that really rocked my boat, so to speak. And what happened is they didn't want to be. This is just recently too. They didn't want to be a Jehovah's Witness anymore. So they were living with mom and dad. You're young, 19, 20 years old, and what do you really know about life? I mean, you haven't got a chance to get your wheels moving yet, right? So they told their mom and dad, who were staunch witnesses, that he doesn't want to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses anymore. So right off the bat, without any further ado, they said, well, you know what you have to do, son? And they, you kind of look bewildered. Well, you know what you have to do, son? You have to find somewhere else to live. Now, here's a young man, not really street savvy at this point, being a Jehovah's Witness all his life. Well, what's he going to do? He's got no money. So he's in a pickle, right? So, I mean, his mother and father, can you imagine your mother and father saying to you, well, you know what you're going to have to do, son or daughter? You know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to find somewhere else to live. I mean, that's a shock to your system, right? So this fellowshipping experience, shunning experience, can't live with your parents experience. You're losing your safety net. I mean, you have to be prepared for this. So
My parents did say that, but I deserved it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
they said you got to move now, but I deserved it. But this is different,
Well, there's people listening to this program that have been given the boot by their own parents. Can you imagine that?
Yes.
And so you got to.
With with apartments going for $2,000 for a closet,
Wow.
there's no way these young people can exist in cities. And a lot of the rural areas don't have apartments to rent. So unless they're on the couch of a friend of theirs, they're prey to exploiters. Some of the young men get sexually exploited, and they get into a scene too if they're a runaway. This can happen if they don't have the job to support them. And now so many of these uneducated people, they don't have their earning power.
Well, what's happening too? I
I
mean,
wonder how many of the homeless people are witnesses.
a lot. Well, that's exactly what I wanted to. Well, let me speak. Hold on 1 second. Pixie, let me take my show here. I'm glad that you want to fill in, and also you, sir. But I've got, I prepare the news here all week long. So let me get through my news, and then when I open it up, you guys can come in and speak. So anyways, well, what I'm saying here is, it's going to be a terrible thing to have to all of a sudden, you have to go out now and find your own place to live. Yeah, that's not an easy thing to do, as Pixie was just saying, and the other fellow was just saying. So if you're struggling right now, and I would be very careful if you're living with mom and dad or living with another witness, to tell them what your feelings are. Be very, very careful. There are extenuating reasons why you can't tell people I'm leaving. Now, if you have no ramifications to suffer, I say get out of the organization as fast as you can and run. But what are you going to do with no money? Where are you going to go? And you're going to be very, very uncomfortable. So I'm just using that as a way to let you know that you got to be financially ready. You just can't. Okay, I'm leaving. You'll be homeless. Unfortunately, you'll be homeless. And then even, I'll tell you what, even if some witnesses, and I would have been this way, I would have felt sorry for some witnesses that were kicked out of the house. I probably would have let them come and stay with me for a while, but only for a while. All right. And, you know that eventually you'll be kicked out of there too. So you got to really use your noggin on this one. All right. There are extenuating reasons why you can't come right out and say, I don't want to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses anymore. These people are cruel. So I just want to bring that to your attention. All right, go ahead. No, any thoughts? Go ahead, Pixie.
What I was going to point out on YouTube, there's some videos about people living in RVs. Also, the homeless people in Washington were disappeared. We've had no follow-up on where they went. And I looked at a video today talking about camps in Utah. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's on YouTube.
Well, I believe that they're going to have to address the issue. I mean, the government's in a real pickle right now. It really, really is. The government is very concerned, even though they're not really stressing it too much. But it's a monumental problem right now. It's monumental. And like I say, there's a shopping center up here, and there was an older woman. Gee, she must have been in her 60s. And, it's cold up here in Massachusetts. This isn't, palm trees don't grow here. And, now that all the leaves are gone, you can look in the woods. And I used to see one tent. Now I see two more tents. So they're making little communities. And what it is right now, see, the government really can't do too much. Trump is trying, I do believe he's trying to get the housing prices down. He says by spring he should have some answers on that, and hopefully that can be the case. But even then, I mean, how much more can you get them down for a homeless person to buy it? He's talking about a 50-year mortgage. I mean, that could work, but it's only going to put people further in debt. But people don't mind going into debt with mortgage. It's kind of a way of life here in America, at least. So we'll see what happens. But it just got me thinking with all the witnesses, and a lot of these witnesses now, from what I have heard, are living in with each other. They're trying to accommodate each other's needs. There's a lot of brothers and sisters. I say brothers and sisters in a vernacular way, that they're falling through the cracks. And so they do need help. So only time will tell. But on that same line of reasoning, there was a leaked video, and I don't know if you guys saw it or heard about it or whatever, but the leaked video evidently is going to be for next month's January's, I think it's for their broadcasting, their update. Jeffrey Jackson is in this video. And it's not out yet on jw.org, but I got the information today from some people. And
No, not another one.
so this leaked video, let me tell you what was in it, brother. And I'm going to get to the part about, homeless, that's coming, but I'm going to start off first telling you what they started off with on this leaked video. So Jeffrey Jackson, well, he's a governing body member, and he started off by talking about Hurricane Melissa. Now, that was back in October of 2025, just a few months ago. And Hurricane Melissa affected several Caribbean islands, as we know. We saw it on the news. Now, Cuba had 70 homes of Jehovah's Witnesses destroyed. More than 600 were damaged. Now, that was just in Cuba alone. And then, of course, there was all kinds of disease outbreaks, including dengue and also chikungunya. See if I can pronounce this right. Chikungunya. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but anyways. Chikungunya. Okay. You Spanish, sister? Yeah. All right. Okay. Chikungunya.
No, it's in my country, so I know what it is.
Oh, chikungunya. Okay. Am I saying dengue? Is that right? Yeah, dengue's right. Yeah. Okay. Chikungunya. All right. So, anyways, it's chikungunya. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What is it? Do you know anything about it? What is it?
It's a viral disease similar to dengue, similar to malaria. It's spread by mosquitoes.
Oh, mosquitoes.
And with the hurricane destroying the tropical countries, Cuba and Jamaica, and not proper water drainage, then of course mosquitoes breed, and once they breed, they spread diseases.
All right, there you go. So, well, that kind of ties in with what we're speaking of here, because he went on to say, Jeffrey Jackson, in the Caribbean, as early as December, they found out, just this month, they found out that a number of Jehovah's Witnesses had died and many others were infected, just like you said, because of mosquitoes with these diseases. Now, relief efforts, according to Jackson, governing body member Watchtower, relief efforts include mosquito nets, insect repellent, and training on disease prevention. So this is what the Watchtower is doing for the people affected by the hurricane in the Caribbean. Now, it kind of is fascinating to me that, they couldn't go a little further with it all. You think that they would have taken and, offered more relief, just more than just mosquito nets and repellent. You would think that they'd go a little bit further. It seems to be at least a token effort. Other religions would help with a lot more than just mosquito nets and repellent and a training video on how to take care of yourself. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm saying, I think they could dig a little deeper into their pockets, probably help them with some temporary shelter or tents or something along those lines. But again, the Watchtower, we talk about it all the time here. They're not too charitable. They're not really willing to go out on a limb to be able to help their real brothers and sisters in the organization. So I find that kind of interesting. Then they'll say that, help has been given to them. But I want you to understand something. When the Watchtower says that help has come to these brothers and sisters, many times it's not the Watchtower that's giving them the help. It's the Red Cross and other church agencies. But the Watchtower seems to take the credit for it. So just a thought that I wanted to bring up tonight. But there's other things too in this Jeffrey Jackson update that really got my attention, and it's concerning homelessness. Again, let's get back into that. And now what they're going to do, and it looks like they're going to be announcing this in this update. The governing body has announced that starting January 1st, 2026, well, that's only a week away, right? So brothers aged 80 and older will no longer serve as members of branch committees. All right. So let's take a look at this. So we have brothers that are 80 and older. They will no longer serve as members of branch committees. Now, most of the older ones have already been given the boot at Watchtower, but these are brothers that have given their life to the Watchtower, and they're 80 or older, and they've been on committees in the branch. In other words, pretty significant positions. And now, according to this new update, on January 1st, they are going to be given the boot. Now, the Watchtower says that they will continue to support their work as consultants. So if you're an 80-year-old brother and you've been serving at one of the branch offices around the world, and you have been there all your life, and you've given much of your hard-earned money, you could have earned, I should say, and all of your hard work to the Watchtower, now all of a sudden you can't be there anymore. You're 80 years old and we can't use you, but we'll use you as an outside consultant. Now that is, that's a little bit hard to come to grips with, right? And I found that, here they go kicking the older ones to the curb. Now, this does not include the governing body, because immediately I thought, wow, does that mean governing body members are going to be given the boot too? The answer is no. They don't come under the same arrangement. They're not considered branch committee members. They're the governing body. They're above everybody. They're like the Pope. So there they go. Now, where are they going to go? Where's an 80-year-old person going to do? And I'll tell you,
they don't have any children or family. They've given it since they were 18 to be at Bethel, and now they're 80. How are they going to rent an apartment?
Well, they're hoping that maybe the congregations can take them in and do something. But at 80 years old, I mean, you might not even have any energy to do anything. The Watchtower took it all away from you. They're going to basically kick these people to the street. So I just got thinking of this today. I'm saying, when they first went to Bethel, let's say that an 80-year-old person went there when they were 20. So they give 60 years of their life to the Watchtower, and they had to take a vow of poverty. They weren't able to make money. If they made money above and beyond what the government stipulates, they had to turn it over to the Watchtower. So in essence, that's what they had to do. So they have no money saved. Yeah.
When these friars go into a monastery as young, I don't have all the terms they use, but some young priest goes into a monastery. He knows he's going to spend his life there, and he knows that his mortal body will be buried there. He knows it's going to be for his whole life.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Zach.
Are you sure they're sending them home, or just removing them from the branch committee?
Well, according to the information I have here, of course, I'm getting it right. It's a leaked video that I got. Mm-hmm. And according to the leaked video, let me just look here. Let me see if I can get into a little more of it here. It doesn't say, well, hold on. Yes, you got an answer for that?
So that was the update that was released yesterday.
Yep.
My husband and I, we watched it yesterday, and yes, they are being sent home, and on a consultant basis is when they would be considered. At 80 years old, where you should be retired.
My question is this: whether they're consultants or not, that's one thing. I'm asking, are they actually being sent home from Bethel, whatever branch they're in? Are they sending them home? Because I've seen 80-year-old people collecting hangers and putting them on hanger holders for the laundry. I've seen that happen. I'm asking, are they returning them to some kind of, putting them in the general Bethel population?
Let me get back to you on that.
Yeah, well, I'll do my own. I can check it. You know what I mean? I'll find out myself. But I'm just saying, right now, it sounds like what Rick said. It sounds like they're sending them home, and I'm saying, I'm giving a caveat. Wait, we're not quite sure it's going that far. I can't see them sending, even with the number of Bethelites they've sent home. I don't see them doing that to 80-year-old people.
Well, thank you for
especially. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Zach, for bringing that up. I don't have the answer to that, and maybe I did. Go ahead.
Let me tell you how the governing body, what they call themselves,
this has been a while since I heard this, but they consider themselves elders, international elders, compared to local elders. They're international elders. Okay, that's actual words used by them.
Okay, so I'm really trying to dig through this here. Some comments have been made about. I didn't realize that it was that it came out today. Thank you for sharing that. Came out yesterday, but thank you for sharing that, sister. But just to clarify it, brother will no longer. Well, it's right here. Brothers aged 80 and older will no longer serve as members of branch committees. They will continue to support the work as consultants, allowing their expertise to branch operations. Nothing said here about it, Zach. So I'll have to redact what I said. I did say being sent home, but again, maybe I said it like a Freudian slip because I mean.
No, what else are you going to? It's easy to think that. But I am just saying. Wait a minute. We need a caveat here. Maybe it's not going so far as sending them home. It may just be cutting them off from branch committee membership.
Yeah, that.
Do all elders who are, let me just ask this question and then I'll mute myself. Do all elders who are branch committee, do they stay at Bethel or do they commute to Bethel?
I don't know how they work in I don't know how they work in other lands. I do know that the United States is now considered a branch too, so it would be interesting to see who those brothers are, if they have an actual committee separate from the governing body. But I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, I do.
When I say what I say, I'm talking about a person who's lived at Bethel. Like Rick said, maybe they came there when they were 20 and they moved up through the ranks. And then when they were on the committee, still living at Bethel, they're still full time there. And then they hit 80 and they're being removed from the committee. I can't see them being sent home. If they live at Bethel. Now, if they never lived at Bethel, if they came in like commuter Bethelites do, and just came there during the day, then I could see an 80-year-old person, even an 80-year-old person, they might send them home, stop them from coming in. But if they were living there, I can't see them sending them home at the age of 80, no.
Okay, so I'm digging a little deeper here. I'm looking at online some comments that have been being made. It does say here one comment, but I mean, doesn't really prove one way or the other. But it says, remember, you took a vow of poverty after the Watchtower promised to look after you for life at the world headquarters. So now beat your feet and hit the bricks, and don't forget to pay your commissary bill on the way out. So you've got, it could be mixed opinions here. It doesn't mean they're hitting the street, so to speak. But the other thing that kind of is of interest to me here is in the comments I'm reading online about this. The governing body is not considered part of these committee members, so they're above the rules on that. But they'll get the governing body, of course, when they retire, they'll get a nice retirement village like up in Fishkill, for example, and or even Tony Morris. I mean, when he retired, he got a golden parachute. He got a house down in North Carolina. So
generally,
yeah.
Generally, the governing body members, they leave the governing body by death. They usually die on the governing body, unless there's some problem like there was with Greenleaf.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. What did you want to say?
They leave already.
Well, I would hope that the Watchtower wouldn't be that cruel. See, what my mind does, though, sometimes it jumps to conclusions. I've seen them be cruel before. You guys probably saw Marcus Vaughn on. He's been on our program before. He was a Bethelite, They told him they came to him one morning and said, you had to leave today. Kicked him to the curb. He owed $2.50 to the commissary, and they sent him a bill after he got home. So, I mean, it was cruel actions like that that make me think the way I do. But I would hope that the Watchtower wouldn't do that, not to an 80-year-old person. Now, I do know, I had a conversation with a circuit overseer, and he was getting up to in his late 60s when he was visiting us. And I sat down in a bagel shop with him one morning. I had a good long talk with him. He says, Rick, he says, it's really terrible what happens. He says, I'm approaching 70 and I won't be able to be a circuit overseer anymore. He says, and I don't know what I'm going to do. He says, they put us out to pastor. He says, now, the district overseer up in New England, his name was Samuelson. He says, now Samuelson, the district overseer, they called him into Brooklyn at the time. And, he's going to be on the writing committee. He says, but I haven't been invited. He says, now I'm going to be on my own. So, there wasn't any special provisions for him. He was on his own. See you later, baby. Thanks for the work. And see you later. So, yeah, that's how I think.
Marcus Vaughn. I remember you had him on, and I remember speaking directly to him. Marcus Vaughn had come under one of those actions by the society where they were sending Bethelites home. And he had been trying to get, find work or something. And he said that one night there were 3 Bethel elders that came to his room. And they asked him where his car was. And he told them. And so they started packing his stuff up, putting it in hoppers. A hopper's a thing, they call that at Bethel, they put stuff in and push it around. They went out to his car, took his stuff out to his car, and he did have to leave. And they do come after you for bills because they came after me for $30. They sent me to my presiding overseer after I dealt with Bethel.
You got to be kidding me.
It was for long distance phone calls because this was before cell phones. But so I know about that. The other thing with circuit overseers, when they hit 70, this thing happens where they're put out to pasture, like you say. There was a video on JW.org about 6 years ago, and there were some circuit overseers who were talking, and one of them said that what he did was he moved into an area where he had served the congregation within the last 2 cycles of visits. So each cycle is 3 years. They serve 3 years in one place and move on. So he made sure he moved to a place where he was still fresh in their mind. That's a shame that he would have to do that.
Oh, yeah, it is. Well, thank you, Zach, for sharing that thought with us. Looks like we got the King of Docs. You on with us?
Yeah, Rick, I will tell you this. I came in late. I'm not sure what the topic is, though. I mean, I saw it switch back and forth. But, that's why I like your show. The topic shifts so much that it's, eclectic. But tell me, what is the topic? Because I had a thought, then Zach came on and he changed my thought, man. Zach, what are you doing to me?
Well,
that's because I inform. So now you can be on topic.
No, I love you, Zach, man, and Rick does too. So what is the topic?
Well, the topic we were talking about a new release. It just came out yesterday, according to the sister on here. But we're talking about a new release update on JW Broadcasting with Jeffrey Jackson. And one of the updates had to do with branch committee members, older brothers that would be 80 years old. They no longer can serve on the committee. So I brought up the fact that they were being kicked to the street, but I'm not exactly sure on that. But anyways, so at 80, they can be used as, yeah.
Do we really know there are that many older brothers still living? I mean, you live a lifestyle of deceit and literally desponsing people, ruining people's families. How long do you think you're going to live? I just don't seriously think there are that many people living that long.
Solomon said, "Oh, how the wicked do prosper."
Thank you. You know I'm right. Dixie, is that you?
That's me.
Thank
I think it's criminal because even after 80, even if there's no dementia, most people want to keep their room and their pillow and their blankie and be able to walk to their food, and they don't want to be looking for an apartment, and a lot of them won't be able to find an apartment.
Well, guess what? The problem is they don't care.
That's it.
And they didn't know it till the last second. Oh, you're on your own. They pretty much figured it would be taken care of. Rick, by the way, are you still there, Rick?
I'm right here.
You're the guy who hosts the show, right?
Yeah, yes, I am. Yeah.
I want to do 2 poems next week. I have a Christmas poem for Watchtower.
You do?
Because they used to celebrate it from 1919 to 1925. And they thought they were the true religion the whole time they celebrated it.
Well, you missed Pixie earlier. She had a Christmas poem. Did you want to repeat that poem again, Pixie?
Yes, let Pixie do that. I want to hear it.
Can she?
I memorized it. It was the night before Bethel, and all through the house, Stephen played Scrooge, and Winder some sort of mouse. And stockings were hung by the chimney or lights with care, 'cause Jesus and Santa, they ain't there. And Sammy, how jolly, his belly, how jolly. And he missed Tony, 'cause Tony made whiskey merry. And out of the fog, a ghost did appear. It was Russell, who said Merry Christmas with cheer. And the second ghost, so tragic, no blood, now gone, said, God bless us, everyone.
I like it. I like
Thank
it much. And you're Dixie, right?
It's Dixie.
Okay, Dixie, where are you from? I'm always curious.
It's
man.
Dixie from Dixie.
From Dixie, okay.
Pixie.
The little Mason-Dixon line.
Like a New Zealand. It's Pixie.
I've always wanted to say Pixie from Dixie. No,
Dixie from Dixie.
there, okay.
But I want to get a chance to do a couple poems for Rick. You know what? I don't like to stay up too long, but I fell asleep today. I was watching football games, bowl games, the new college bowl thing they got going on. And it put me to sleep, quite frankly. So I woke up in time to contribute my 2 cents worth. I guess I can't say that. There are no more pennies anymore. I contributed my 5 cents worth. So next week, I want to try to do a couple poems, and I got a Christmas poem too.
Wow, we'll love to hear it. So look forward to it next week, King of Dots. Very good. Well, thank you for showing up here.
Condition to read that poem now. Thank you so much, Rick.
Well, you're very welcome. Bye-bye. Well, that's King of Dots out there in Ohio. While you're on the 6 screens, JW World News, that's the news the Watchtower does not want us talking about. But we talk about it every Saturday night and every other Sunday, but not tomorrow. That's the Sunday that we're off. It'll be next Sunday, not tomorrow. So it's amazing, friends, that we keep doing this every week. We never missed a week in about 20 years. I think it's probably even a little more than that now, I think, exposing the Watchtower. But what I'm thinking here is it's getting better. We're getting points up on the scoreboard. It wasn't always this way. I mean, when we first started here in the 6 screens, it was like cutting teeth to get anyone to even call in. And but time progressed along, and now we get a good audience. And like I say, it's even more than just an audience. The 6 screens is a community. We are a community of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. And this is where ex-Jehovah's Witnesses come to talk, right here on the 6 screens telenetwork. Well, that should just about end it. We really appreciate all you folks calling in and listening in and spending some time with us. And we wish you all a Merry Christmas. We hope it all goes well for you. And I know that some have different feelings toward it, but whatever you do, we hope that it'll all work out for the best. And we really appreciate the year that we had with you. We're looking forward to going to a new year and got a lot of good things coming up on the 6 screens, as well as that movie that was shot up here at the convention we had for the ex-witnesses in Boston on August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. There was a movie, and that movie too is going to be out very shortly from what we understand. So we're looking forward to that movie coming out and really exposing the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're trying to get it on Netflix. And if it does go on Netflix, it'll be really, really good. A lot of witnesses will see it. Well, I want you to keep standing tall. I don't want you to ever give in, up, or out. And the last one leaving the Watchtower, please turn off the new light. We'll see you next Saturday night right here on the 6 Screens Telenetwork with Anne Marie, touched by the tentacles of the Watchtower. Good night, everyone. I'll leave the phone on. If you guys all want to talk, the phone lines are open. Thank you very much for spending your night with us.